All right. Well, good afternoon. It's still morning. I'm Steve Yarborough, and at my center, I'm affectionately known as SY, the Science of Mind guy. In my final project as a practitioner, I chose that moniker because my final project had to do with science and science of mind and science of spirituality. So SY, the Science of Mind guy, like Bill Nye. Nothing to do with my talk, though. I just thought I'd throw that out. I'm so grateful for all of you that have come before me. It's been for me very much like, do you guys remember that magazine when we were kids, Highlight? And you find the hidden object? Every one of your talks has had that hidden object that I'm going to be bringing out in my talk. And maybe you guys can find it too, or I'll probably tell you when I get to it. It's great. But here's what my talk's about today. How many of us were in Dr. Rogers' class, Historical Foundations? Remember in the second class, he talked about the criticisms of New Thought? There were 3 criticisms. 1, we're too narcissistic. 2, we're too materialistic. And 3, we're too optimistic. Too optimistic? Really? Okay. Well, I got defensive on that. And I really had to go and do some work on that. Obviously, before we do a talk, we have to do our work on it first. So I took it into prayer, I took it into meditation, and I came up with this talk. And really what I found was, well, wait a minute, before I give you my reply, my answer, I have to ask you, is there anybody here that's from the ancient fraternal order of turtles? Okay. And this goes, Lynn, thank you very much, and Glenn, and all of you have broke the ice on this and talked about kind of going out on an edge with our talks, because the ancient honorable order of turtles was an honorable drinking club composed of ladies and gentlemen of the highest morals and good character who are never vulgar, okay? Never vulgar. Their creed, was to think clean, to have fun a lot, and to recognize the fact that you never get any place in life worthwhile unless you stick your neck out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick my neck out here, because to become a turtle, you have to start to change your way of thinking. And we as ministers, and this, I'm so grateful as this group, because I don't think this would make a good pulpit talk, that we have to change the way we think about the way we use words. And so to become a turtle, there's a question and response, kind of like the secret handshake. And the question is, are you a turtle? And I ask you if you are a turtle. And the proper response is, you bet your sweet ass I am. Now, remember, our goal here is to never vulgar, right? So there's a series of 4 questions. It's a test. Lynn, here's another test. And this is where I'm going to really get out there. And I'm going to really challenge you on this. To become a turtle, you have to think differently. So this is the initiation. What does a cow have 4 of and a woman only have 2 of? Legs. Very good. You're on your way. What is a 4-letter word ending in K, meaning fornicate? Da, 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 da. Talk. What does a man do standing up, a woman do sitting down, and a dog do on 3 legs? Come on, Jeff. Shake hands. Very good. All right. And we're going to stick our head out here a little bit. What is on a man that is hard and round, that sticks so far out of his pajamas you can hang a hat on it? His head. Okay, so now you're fully initiated as a turtle. So part of this is, if you're ever asked in a public place, are you a turtle, you must respond, you bet your sweet ass I am. Otherwise, you have to buy the party that asks the question a drink of their choice, okay? Now, this originated in World War II with a group of pilots when they came back from their missions, and they were gathered around the bar with the nurses and the other people on base to really look at how we use words and how we choose words. So when I was challenged with being too narcissistic, too materialistic, and too optimistic, you know what my final response was? My final work through on this is, you bet your sweet ass I am. Come on, too narcissistic. We are told by the great teacher that we are to love God with all of our hearts and soul and mind. And second to that, and I just love this, second to that, to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Now, we've had a lot of references in the hidden objects here of the mirror. We know Narcissus came from the Greek mythology of staring into the water and falling in love with ourselves to the point where we were frozen. Well, here's the point to that is, yes, we all have mirrors, and we use those mirrors and what's reflecting back to us. But when we come to that place where we know that I am one with the Father, that we walk up and we shatter that mirror, that we remove the separation altogether, that we get to that place that we know that we know that we know that I and the Father are one, that God is closer than our breath, is closer than our breath. So I love to look at the modern mystics of our day and time, and it's usually found in rock and roll. And so I envision in this shattering of the mirror of Tommy in the great rock opera, Tommy, Roger Daltrey, Go to the Mirror Boy, and he shatters the mirror, and what happens right then? I'm free. I'm free. And he runs off singing and dancing through the beaches and through the mountains. I'm free. It's that removal of separation that we find in our healthy narcissism. Healthy narcissism, when we remove that layer of separation, that we recognize the oneness, the unity. It's what we're taught in spiritual mind treatment. The recognition and the unification. That's the first step, and that is healthy narcissism. So when it comes to talking about narcissism, being narcissistic, when it comes to my identity, with my unity, with the essence of my being, you bet your sweet ass I am. The next one, and by the way, when we say you bet your sweet ass, you know we're talking about a well-dispositioned donkey. Another hidden object. Too materialistic. I think that's what Lynn was talking about, and I think that's what we all really have come to appreciate about this teaching is creative-minded success. To be materialistic in this day and age is to know the truth of our being, to know that we have the ability through our thoughts to create the environment, to create the world that we want. And so, sue me. I'm materialistic. And what's the other great mystic? Madonna. We're living in a materialistic world. I am a materialistic person. This is our reality. We are made to enjoy and to reflect and to be part of this life. We are here to experience it. We are the form that the formless has brought forth to experience and to express in life. We are one with the Father. So being a materialist is engaging fully in life, because when we say to love God with our hearts and soul and our mind, what is God? God is ever present in all form, in all life. And so when we love God, we love life. Does that make us materialistic? And when Jesus said, I am come that you may have life and that you may have life more abundant, where do we get off thinking that we have to live as martyrs? That we can't have and express and be the very best that we can be? I get so not troubled, but it's a challenge when people think that there's sin in desire. That when we try to express and be more of what we can be, that we are somehow judged as being materialistic, as being greedy, as wanting and desire. I think that really the essence of our being is to be here and express and to have and to experience. And so I say, yes, I'm materialistic. You know, for all of us that are involved in the classical philosophy and the old dead Greeks, what was the first primary challenge they had when it came to awakening of consciousness? It's to be or not to be. Are we really here? And in creation, you know, what is reality? What is real? Well, this is reality. We're here. I'm a material person. And so to be too materialistic, I think where we have to check in on that is it's when we covet. And Ernest Holmes, and this is the part I love, he says, you can have whatever you want as long as it doesn't take away from somebody else. As long as we are not taking away somebody else's good, we can have it. We can have it all. So, yes, I'm materialistic. And that's what this book, which is probably the first book I read before I started taking classes, really emphasizes that whatever we bring into our awareness, whatever we bring into our consciousness, we can create and we can have. And another great mystic of recent time, John Lennon, said, why on earth are we here? Surely not to live in pain and fear, that we can have what we desire. You know, it's the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. And it's simply done unto us as we believe. Ask and it shall be given. And what's the ultimate reality of all of it? Is God is our source. God is our source. So why should we ever think any less than? In fact, Jesus himself, he participated fully in life. Jesus was a materialist. What did he do? He brought the wine to the party. He created the food. If there wasn't enough, he made more. So, from the beginning of thought, the awakening of consciousness, from Parmenides, and Hermocrates, and Emerson, and Holmes, and all the way up to Goswami, we're learning that we create through our thoughts, through our awareness, that we can have whatever it is that we bring into our awareness, into our consciousness. And really, through our choice, that is our greatest gift, that we create our environment. One of the talks last night, one of the hidden treasures, was if you don't like the show, get up and go to another theater. We can create whatever it is we want. So the theater that I choose is filled with prosperity and abundance. It's filled with all of the wonderful things. I wake up in the morning and I see that glorious sunrise and I see the stars at night and I just think, this is a wonderful place. I like this place. And then the next subject, too optimistic. How can you be too optimistic? Sue me. I mean, what's the opposite of that? A pessimist? Norman Vincent Peale has a story in his book where he was on a train and he was riding with this train and this well-dressed, you could tell it was a fluent woman, and a man came into his car, and this woman just went on and on and on about how bad it was. I mean, this car is drafty, the food's horrible, the service sucks. She couldn't find a nice thing to say. Finally, her husband turned to Dr. Peale and said, "Hi, I'm Bob Jones, and I'm an attorney. What do you do?" And he said, "Well, I'm a minister. I'm a preacher." And he said, "Well, I'd like to introduce you to my wife. She's a manufacturer." Dr. Peale sat back and said, "A manufacturer? What do you create?" And the attorney said, "She creates unhappiness. She manufactures unhappiness." I thought that's great because we are all manufacturers, right? We manufacture our attitudes, our surroundings, and whatever it is. So I am, honest to God, a card-holding optimist. I've been a member of the Optimist Club since probably 1980. I'm a gold member, life member. And I believe that. And that's what drew me to this philosophy, this thinking, that when I walked in, is this philosophy teaches optimism. Sure beats pessimism. In fact, I have another test. I created this one myself because I always had these visuals when I was a young student, and I think junior high when they do the mathematical axiom of a train going 200 miles an hour this way and another train going 200 miles an hour this way, and they meet. What's the total speed of the velocity or whatever that is? I think, my God, it's going to be destruction. I think it's 400 miles an hour, right? So what if on one train there's an optimist, on the other train there's a pessimist, and they meet in the middle? What happens? They die. Right? So here's the thing. What if, because we really don't know on the mystical side of life what happens after that. We all have our ideas. We read ancient texts, and we look at the illumination, and the mystics talk about what happens after death. But what if we just die? What if that's the end? Man, those two trains collide and it just goes black. Nothing more. The optimist on the one train spent his life enjoying the ride. He had a good time. He always saw the best and the highest of everything that ever occurred on that trip, right? And before that trip, and the day before, and the day before. He woke up and said, it's a glorious day. It's a beautiful day. The pessimist, he went through life saying, not another day. I wonder what's going to happen. Is this train going to be on time? God, I could die. The point is the optimist enjoyed the ride the whole way. And another great mystic, Bob Weir of the Grateful Dead, said, life may be going to hell in a basket, but at least I'm enjoying the ride. I really think that part of our beingness is to use it all up. I really have the philosophy of don't leave anything on the table. I love the analogy of the mud run. In fact, I was telling Claire I have a group of employees that I sponsored into the mud run. And that is about using it all up, never leaving anything on the table. My true belief when it comes to optimism is summarized in the Optimist Creed, Christian Larson. But it wasn't originally called the Optimist Creed. It was called Promise Yourself. And it goes like this. Promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. To talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet. To make all of your friends feel that there's something in them. To look at the sunny side of life and make your optimisms come true. To think only the best, to work only for the best, and expect only the best. And to be too strong for anger, too noble for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. Thank you very much.